Not far from today's busy, often disconnected world, you'll find a farm community striving to do what's right, not only for themselves, but for neighbors, the land, and for generations to come.
The three words that describe a farmer: integrity, innovation, family.
Jerry Fry and his son Bruce are fourth and fifth generation wine grape farmers.
Since day one, I've always wanted to be a farmer. I knew from when I was a little kid, from 2 to 3 years old, first thing I'd go do is go play with my tractors out in the dirt. It's like my dad said, it's in your blood.
Resourceful is one of Jerry's three words.
Well, a lot of things my dad, passed on to me, and one was to save things. You look for something that would make things work better or to fix something. You had a need and you figured out a way to solve it. In a way, you're kind of an engineer and an inventor in some ways.
Yeah, that old Bonlay has been around for a while, kind of like farmers. They stick around, they don't disappear.
God said I need somebody who can shape an axe handle from a persimmon sprout, shoe a horse with a hunk of car tire, who can make harness out of hay, wire, feed sacks, and shoe scraps. So God made a farmer.
As old as the Model A Duster is, there are vines on the Moore Fry Ranch even older.
When I go out through the day and walk through them or drive by them and wish they could talk to you, how they're feeling today, what the last 10 years felt like. You need some more water, you need some more fertilizer, talk to me,
Each little guy is unique. It's like I used to tell our pruners how to prune them. I says, it's just like a barber. When you walk into the barber shop, every head's different and you got to decide how to trim this one. And so,
this one's pretty.
Yeah, this one's, there's not much to prune off of this one, so.
Father and son, doing what they love, together. Or as Jerry likes to say,
we begin as dust and we end as dust and we garden in the middle.
So God made a farmer.
It all started with my grandfather, Victor Anaya Sr. He came to the United States in the 1940s during the Bracero program. The Bracero program was a joint agreement between the two governments, United States and Mexico, where they will send farm labor workers to the United States to help during the seasons of farming, and then they will go back to Mexico once the seasons were done.
Had it not been for the program, Gerardo Espinoza and his uncles, Victor and Gerardo Anaya, might never have found themselves in Lodi, let alone growing and making wine.
My father told me, you need to have a dream and you need to work every day for your dream. You work hard.
At first, we didn't know exactly what to plant. So somebody told us Cabernet is one of the most popular. So we decided on that one.
When my family planted the vineyard, it was bare land. It was a cattle ranch at that point, and my uncles were able to do everything themselves. To this day, you will see my uncles all the time in our vineyards. The first vineyard that we planted, we decided to name it Viñedos Aurora. That was in honor of my grandmother, Aurora Vineyards, which means the first light of the day.
Soon, there were more vineyards and more varieties planted, including one of sentimental value.
Well, we went over here close to the border of Mexico and United States. It's a place, Valle de Guadalupe. There are a lot of vineyards over there. So in one of the places, we tasted the Nebbiolo, and we loved it. So when we came back to United States, we decided to plant that kind of grapes to make our own wine, the one that I like it over there.
If it wasn't for my uncles, I probably wouldn't be here. They basically taught me everything that I know so far. Every time I talk to them or every time I'm at the vineyards, I'm learning something new.
At the end of the day, It's about lessons learned and passed on from one generation to the next that, to this family, matters most.
The main lesson I got from my parents is work hard. The other ones is work together, because it's the only way I think we have succeed.
3 words that describe us as farmers.
Family.
Family.
Family. Union.
La que tienes en el...
My parents live there, my cousin lives there, my aunt lives just beyond that. We've got another set of cousins that live over there. My great aunt lives in my great grandmother's house.
You've heard of the Hatfields and the McCoys.
My son lives in the next house right here on the other side of this field. My other daughter, Kelly, lives in the next house down. And I have a cousin that lives back over here.
The Sharks and the Jets.
We've got one of the other original Shin family houses right over there that one of our cousins lives in.
Here in Lodi, it's a friendly rivalry known as
East Side, West Side. Oh, you're asking me, the old timer. The East Side, West Side story. Many years ago, I would say we have to go back now probably. It kind of boils down to back in the day.
to 1865. Ulysses S. Grant deeds a homestead to John R. Shin in what is now West Side Lodi.
It's one of those amazing pieces of history that we hold on to, you know, to be some of the first people that ever actually settled here. Kind of cool that, you know, we've kind of handed that down through the generations.
While over on the east side,
Our family heritage goes back quite a few years. They actually moved here from South Dakota in 1899 and started a farming operation right here on this property. Then along comes me, okay? Another generation.
They always talk about how great their east side sand is over there.
So we always kind of poo-pooed those guys over on the west side for quality. It really probably wasn't that true, but we always did it anyway.
that's because with each generation comes a newfound respect for the land and for those who farm it.
Kids that grow up in a multi-generational business, whatever it is, I think it's good for them to get out and do other things and see the world and then bring back what they've learned to the family business. And so it's a great responsibility that we all have here collectively to make sure that we show our appellation well.
When they succeed, we succeed. When we succeed, they succeed. It's part of just, you know, it's part of the bigger farming family.
And any one of them over there that needed something, we'd jump to help them.
We borrow equipment from each other. We loan equipment.
It's about respect, mutual respect. And when you give it to your neighbors will give it back to you.
East side, west side. In the end, does it still matter?
The three words that best describe the farmer in our region are the northeast side, the central east side, and the southern east side. They're the best regions.
Apparently, it really matters.
What got me interested in making wine? My father had been a home winemaker years before, so I had a crusher and a press. So I had some basic equipment, and basically I was in need of alcohol, so I decided to learn how to make wine.
Meet one of Lodi's more eclectic winemakers, wine grower and Haydn aficionado.
My name is Tom Hoffman, and I own Heritage Oak Winery. I started in 1985. The only book I had at the time was a little paperback book called The Art of Home Winemaking. And I followed that book, and it had so much bad information in it. Then I got involved with a bunch of fellows that were also making wine, and we formed a club. It was the Lodi Amateur Vintners Association. We called it LAVA. And we started bringing in speakers to talk about making wine. We got involved in educating ourselves about how to make wine. I believe you have to make the best fruit possible. You have to do everything to bring the most color, flavor into the fruit. My job is to bring out that varietal character out in the vineyard. I think one of the things that really shined a light on that for me was working with the Mondavis. The better your grapes and the more you do to make good wine gets results in the winery. What parallels do I see between farming and music? I would have to say that you need to achieve harmony in both. You have to have a balance. The vine has to be in balance, the treble and the bass have to be in balance. The first big things I had to get over when we opened the winery was I was just kind of afraid that people weren't going to like my wine. I remember realizing that hey, maybe they do like it because people were signing up for the wine club. And that was a kind of a time that I realized maybe this might work.
For Tom and his many followers, harmony and balance are indeed the keys to success.
And here we are, 45 years later.
He was going to be famous, Ben Colber was.
Well, I'm a trained musician from Berklee College of Music with big plans to become a rock star, famous musician, or whatever it became to be.
Whatever it became to be turned out to be a winemaking internship on the edge of the Pacific and a girl named Madeline.
We had a lot of enthusiasm about what we were doing. We were young, we were excited about trying something new, we were learning a lot.
The setting that we were in was a great setting. For Mel and I to fall in love, I mean, it was gorgeous, right? Lived on the edge of a cliff in a trailer. Everything was new to me. Driving forklifts, fantastic. I mean, I get to drive equipment. I loved it, I loved it.
They say wine and romance go hand in hand, which in turn got Ben to take a life-changing step.
After our internship, I decided I wanted to be in Lodi. I wanted to be by Madeline. She had an opportunity to start her family winery as the winemaker, and I had to find something to do.
That something presented itself the night a harvester broke down in the field.
So I remember it vividly, laying down underneath someone else's harvester and the grape juice kind of dripping on our faces, and Chris cursing every nut and bolt that we had to take off, and I'm sitting here holding the flashlight, and he looks at me and he goes, "I hate working on other people's equipment." And I go, "Well, let's buy one." I didn't even know what a grape harvester was at the time, but that was my idea. I said, let's buy one. And that's what we bought, right there. That was our first harvester.
Now, 20 years later, and with a fleet of equipment, managing 3,200 acres, KG isn't so much a company as it is a community.
These families, these people that offered their support for us to get started, are our very close friends now.
It's a nice community because people pull together and they want to help each other out. It's become more than just work. It's a way of life. We all fall in line because Ben is a great leader. He does it with a smile, and he's fun, and that's a big part of music, is you need a good drummer to keep time, and Ben does a great job of that.
It was another musician, John Lennon, who said, "Life is what happens when you're busy making other plans." For Ben and Madeline, Plan B has worked out to be just fine. Will Rogers once said, "A farmer has to be an optimist, or he wouldn't be a farmer." Throw on top of that a layer of pragmatism, and you've got the Ledbetters.
Any family that's going to be involved in a family business more than one generation in the state of California or in this country better do some succession planning, or it's going to come to a halt.
25 years ago, it was very scary and daunting to take over. 75% of family businesses in the third generation go out of business, and we did not want to be that statistic.
So daunting, in fact, that third generation kids Craig and Kim weren't sure it was for them.
As the kids were all growing up, they all said the same thing: when I leave Lodi and go away to college, I'm not coming back.
But come back they did, determined to give the family business even more than what their father and uncle had already put in.
Was I afraid that I was going to let him down? No, not once I started working for the business. He had that mentality that the two of us working together, we were going to get it right. He gave us the lessons that we needed to learn long ago, so we would make it right.
Even though you might not have, as a parent, seen them picking up on the fact that hard work was really going to get you someplace, apparently they learned it.
Indeed they did. And now Kim and Craig are applying that same work ethic in new and innovative ways.
When it comes to farming, I would say our philosophy really isn't a whole lot different. But have we made changes in looking in other directions and doing different things? Sure.
I mosey in the office every once in a while.
All of our family properties in the Lodi area now are powered by solar.
And I'll just sit in and listen.
We've started farming biodynamically.
And I'm amazed, totally amazed at some of the things that they're doing.
We have a client that's closing on an organic property that we're going to be farming as well. So we will be farming organically here in the very near future.
This whole thing about being sustainable and planning for the business to go to another generation.
I did feel like I had to prove a lot, not just because I'm third generation, but also because I was female, and I think I did.
There's not enough words to tell you how proud I am of my kids.
The beauty of being back and working for a family business and running a family business is the freedoms that you have. The freedoms to enjoy your family, which that's what I think we all do it for.
Craig was more of a challenge for mom and dad than his sister. But, they all grew up and were all adults and we're having a glass of wine here and there. We found out a lot of stories about Kimberly, too, that we didn't know about.
J&J, scene 8, take 1.
Why do I have to go first? Because you're younger.
Yeah, I'm the younger one. Okay, I get it. Okay.
Born to Greek immigrants, brothers Jeff and John Perlagos spent their childhood working in the family's Lodi General Store, as well as the family vineyard.
Growing up, we were inseparable, mostly because we had no choice. Farming together was never in my plans. When I graduated high school, I wanted to peel out of here and never come back, really.
But as is so often the case, life has a way, the brothers discovered, of coming full circle.
Perspectives changed. We got older and we started to really fall in love with wine. And I think that was really the real turning point. We've had a harvest every year of our life, so we've never not known what a harvest or harvest season is like. It was probably my idea to start farming old vines. The best way to describe these old vines is that they're gnarly. They're twisted, but in a good way.
You know, a couple of guys, when we bought this vineyard, told us, hey, I would rip this thing out and produce 10, 12 tons an acre out of here. And we're like, no, you can't do that. There's too much history here.
It probably is more lucrative to take those out and put something else, but I would hate to be the guy that was responsible for pulling out a piece of history of that place in this world. So to me, it feels sacrilegious almost to pull something out if you don't have to.
Maybe it's their Greek heritage, this old world way of seeing beauty and value where others might not.
So for us, besides trying to earn a profit and be in the black, we do find a lot of spiritual reward from being out here working on the vines, taking care of them, nurturing them, and trying to keep them going for another year.
Being in the black helps, though.
Absolutely.
But whatever it is that these two brothers share, it is first and foremost the relationship with each other that they value most.
He's a good big brother.
Thanks. You got that on camera, right?
Middle of a 100-year-old vineyard stands a winery more akin to a work of modern art.
The way that we've approached winemaking from a social context is we've tried to make it very accessible. Yeah, my name's Jeremy Tredovic, and I'm the owner and winemaker of Jeremy Wine Company. In the space that we've created, we've tried to make it warm, and then also having customers be able to be close. Like you have the barrels behind you, you're in that space, you're smelling the aromas of the cellar around you. And to be able to be out in the vineyard, I can show you and say, these are those vines that you're having right now. It's a really amazing experience.
And while Jeremy's approach is all about giving people something new to talk about, the vines he grows are as old as Lodi itself.
I think one of the coolest things to show and share with people in old vines is that it's a time capsule of history. When you walk through that field and you look at the scars on those vines, when you look at an old vine and you look at that gnarly kind of arms coming off there, and you'll see a series of holes and scars on that vine all the way down to the very crunched in hole on the bottom where it's rotting out. Those are signatures of that grower, that farmer, and there is no doubt about it. When you make a bottle of wine, if you do not get grapes that are spectacular, you're not going to make spectacular wine. What else do you make that takes you 2 to 4 years to finally release out to a customer? You know, maybe if I'm lucky, I'm going to get 40 opportunities to create a great bottle of wine. My favorite bottles are the ones that are yet to come down the road.